So hey guys, how are you doing? My name is Lena and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to do a tag because I've been tagged in so many things and I haven't done anything. So today we're going to do this a tag created by Monica at Moody Reads, and it's kind of my first bookish times, something like that. I don't know the exact title. I think it's first bookish times, but it might be completely wrong. So we're going to answer 12 questions. And it's just about all the kind of first times that you read a book, basically. So I'll try and answer correctly. I barely remember anything those times, but we'll try. So the first one is, what is the first full-length book that you remember reading on your own? So hear me out. For this, I have a couple of answers because I'm not sure which one I read first. So there are kind of two options here. Even though I think it's the first one, the second one was my favorite book for so long that I don't remember which one I read first. But probably the first one is Chronicles of the Tower by Laura Gallego, which was my favorite author as a teenager slash kid. I love her so much. I still really love her, but I have kind of grown out of her books. So that's a little bit sad, but overall I still enjoy the hell out of it. And the other one I think is The House of the End of the World by Jose Maria Plaza. I was obsessed with this book. It's about a bunch of kids that find this house that is full with statues. It's a horror story and it's so good. Oh my goodness. Now I'm confused because I'm not really sure of which one of this I read, because I'm sure that it wasn't Memories of Idun, because that was after Chronicles of the Tower. So yeah, it's probably Chronicles of the Tower because I remember going to the library and getting them. Like, yeah. Second one, what is the first series you remember finishing? So for this, I didn't finish. I did kind of finish the Chronicles of the Tower, but the thing is, a prequel came out later, so I didn't read that. I haven't read it actually. It was about Fenris, but I did complete Memories of Idun by Laura Gallego, and holy shit, that series was everything. Here for us little Spanish kids, that series was everything. That was the original, like, kind of love triangle for us. That was fucking incredible. Holy shit, I was so invested. I low-key hated Victoria and Kirtas. I only liked Jack, but it doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure that was the first series that I completed because it was a trilogy and the books are gigantic. Imagine having kids devouring books over 700 pages. It was insane. The new editions actually come separate, so yeah. And maybe I finished the series that shall not be named first, but I think it was Memories. Number 3, what is the first book to movie adaptation you remember watching, knowing it was a book to movie adaptation? Well, for me, this one, it's quite easy. It was The Lord of the Rings. I was obsessed with The Lord of the Rings as a kid also. I went to the theaters with my mom and I remember watching The Two Towers on almost the first row, which is a pain, you know, neck pain, because you have to be like that watching it. And it was a great but terrible experience at the same time. And the other one's probably the series that should not be named. Like, yeah, that shit was my thing when I was a child. It just got me in the perfect age, so I was getting older with the characters. It was perfect. But yeah, who was your first book crush? See, this is going to be hard because I think that I kind of read all the series at the same time, so I have 4. You're probably going to see a type here, but the first one was Jack from Chronicles of Idun. He was a green-eyed, blonde dude. He was a bit of an idiot, I won't lie to you, but he was a fucking dragon, so that's super cool. Then probably Peter Pevensey from the Chronicles of Narnia. Whoa. A Draco, I can't help it, okay, I can help it. And then Luke from the Percy Jackson books. Yeah, I do have a type. I do have a type. Who was your first bookish friend? So The first one that came to mind was my friend Malo. She read like the same books as me at the same time, so we usually trade. I remember reading Chronicles of the Tower at the same time. So she's the first one that came to mind. My friend Paula also read kind of at the same time as me, but I remember Malo for that. What is the first adult book you remember reading not for school? So, hear me out. Adult book, okay? You know, I went to that phase being obsessed with vampires, okay? But I was obsessed with the good vampires. Meaning, the first book that I read that was adult and not for school was Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. I have all of the Anne Rice's books, okay? I have them all. They are so fucking good. The new ones are pretty meh, but the originals, oh man. Who doesn't want a vampire who is a fucking rock star? You know, it's just... I was obsessed. But I have to say that because I was obsessed with vampires, I also read The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova, and I'm not sure which one I read first. My mother was just like, you shouldn't read that, and she owned it. I still read it. I really liked it. It's kind of not a retelling, but it's about Dracula. So yeah, I read was it? Oh, maybe it was Dracula actually. I think by that time I hadn't read a Dracula. I have watched the movie with the Gary Oldman one, which I'm obsessed with, by the way. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's one of those. I don't have them here, so you're just going to see pictures. I'm sorry. Who was your first character role model? See, I don't know. This is one of the questions that I'm just like, no. I don't think that I had one, if I'm being honest, because, you know, I kind of only read like urban fantasy and science fiction at the time. But the time that I had already started reading all the vampire thing, I was also reading Space Odyssey. So my reading was all over the place. I never read like something with a good role model. Well, you can count Chronicles of Narnia maybe, but you know, religion. So I don't know. I don't have an answer for this one. Who was the first author you were truly inspired by? See, this is another complicated one, because if I tell you the truth, I used to not give a fuck who wrote the books. Like, I didn't care. I would just grab a book, read the summary. If it sounded interesting, I would read it. In fact, I was really known for reading series out of order. Actually, I read Harry Potter 6 before reading 5, and then I read 7. It was a mess, okay? It was a mess. I didn't care, so for this, I'm just going to use Manuel Loureiro. I was obsessed with his books. He's the only author from that time that I still read today. You know, he gave me a book about zombies set on my city, you know. That was important. The hospital that shows in the book was my hospital. So every time that I went there, I was just like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like in Apocalypse C, I was dumb like that. But it was so special, okay? I loved it. That's probably the one, but I cannot pinpoint like an exact author if I'm being honest. What is the first book you remember touching or moving you? It took me a while to get into this one, but I remember reading Memoirs of a Geisha by, what was the author? Arthur Golden. I cried a lot with that book. I was still really young. I watched the film and I kind of became obsessed with it, so I decided to read the book. I cried so much with that one. I cannot pinpoint like an exact moment, but I just remember crying so bad while reading that book. Yeah. What was the first classic you read not for school? So this is easy. I remember this because I think I've told you like multiple times, I was obsessed, like obsessed with Greek mythology. So I used to take this class when I was 15. When I was 15, I was obsessed. I was starting to read Percy Jackson, so my mind was everywhere. And I had this course all about Greek mythology and, you know, and Roman mythology. So my professor was so happy with me that she gave me the Odyssey for me to read. and I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, I was just such a nerd by now. Whoa. She also gave me my first mythology book. It was like this. It was pretty small, but it was like my first step into the whole mythology thing. I love that class. It's still my favorite class still now. Even having done my degrees and such, I don't care. Oh, it was so good. What was the first YA book you read? Hear me out. So I'm not sure which one of these two. Probably Memories of Eden or The Chronicles of Eden, whatever it is called in English, by Laura Gallego. But see, because I was obsessed with vampires, I also read House of the Dead by PC Cast. It's an urban fantasy series about vampires. Guessed. Oh my god, I'm exposing myself so bad today. You know, the thing is, I never finished this series because it was pretty bad. But I did read the first 3 books. So I'm pretty sure that was my first YA. But I don't know. Between 13 and 15, everything is just like a thing there, you know? So the last question is, what was the first ebook you read? I remember this perfectly because I never finished this book and I've been wanting to get back to it for, I don't know, maybe 10 years or something. Something from The Nightshade by Simon R. Green. Nightshade, no, Nightside. Something from The Nightside. And I've been wanting to read this for forever. I remember reading that on my laptop, but I never finished it because I was so uncomfortable. So I only read on paper. At that time, I couldn't just finish it. It was just like so hard. But yeah, that's the one I haven't like stuck in my mind. I will finish it one day. I will finish it one day. But yeah, that was basically everything. So I guess I should tag some people now. So I don't remember exactly who Monica tagged, but I'm going to tag Chelsea from Chelsea Chow. I love her. She's incredible. She's amazing. I'm also going to tag Taylor from Made Between the Pages, even though I know she's very busy and it's fine if you don't have time to make it. And I'm also going to tag, let me think. And I'm also going to tag Kayla from Crack Into a Good Book, because why not? I'm also going to tag all of these people in my next tag, but it doesn't matter. I'm tagging you again. So yeah, after exposing myself, I'm just going to go, okay? That's this was so dumb. Yeah, I was obsessed with vampires. I had like at that time. I had to tell you, I didn't love Twilight. I didn't like the first book, but I didn't like the rest. So, you know, I was cool like that. I just didn't really like Twilight. That's so dumb. But yeah, I just gotta go now. This has been enough. I hate you, Monica. I'm making me expose myself like this. But yeah, that's going to be all for today, guys. Have you ever heard about these books? Because most of them are just like Spanish books. But Chronicles of Eden got a TV adaptation on Netflix recently, an anime adaptation, and it was fucking awful. Like, awful. I had to watch it on English because the voice actors were terrible. But yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.